Do you see it?
Yep.
Great.
Should it be flashing or solid?
Solid red light.
Mine's flashing.
Mine's flashing.
Oh my God, people, maybe I'm recording. It's recording. Yeah, I'm not touching it. We're good.
All right.
We'll edit this part. Ready? Hello, and thank you for joining us. My name is Lesley Hatfield. I'm a partner and director of business development for Integrated Financial Group here in Atlanta. Welcome to our education and empowerment series, where we will be bringing our audience conversations with some of the smartest and most successful professionals in their field. I'll be co-hosting today's webinar with my partner, Kevin Garrett. Kevin is a nationally recognized independent fee-based financial advisor for Integrated Financial Group. Hi, Kevin.
Hey, Les, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm really excited today because we have Randy Kessler with us. Randy, hello.
Woohoo! Good to be here.
Hey, Randy. Just a little bit about Randy. Randy is a high-profile divorce attorney here in Atlanta and has been practicing for about 30 years. He's the founding partner of KS Family Law, which is a 30-person family law firm here in Atlanta, and represents entertainers and athletes and people like you and me. Randy's also the author of Divorce, Protect Yourself, Your Kids, and Your Future, and it's available at divorceprotect.com. He is the former chair of the family law section of the American Bar Association. He's a Emory Law School trial professor, and he's also a LinkedIn influencer with over 400,000 followers. So awesome. So Randy, thank you so much for being here today and giving us some time and just sharing your wisdom with us, and just welcome. Randy.
Thank you guys. No, this has been flattering. That was listening to all that. I don't know who you're talking about, but sounds good.
That's you, my friend.
Ah, okay.
It's you.
Hey, Randy, before we even get going, or maybe we do this on a separate podcast, one of these days I want to learn how to get my followers up to 400,000. That's pretty impressive.
You know, I'm still figuring out how it happened to me. I think I just was right place, right time, and I don't know what. I did something right somewhere, or wrong.
You got a lot of good things to say, and people want to hear it. That's for sure, and that's what we want to do today. So, yeah, let's jump in with some of this.
Yeah. So I guess, Randy, maybe my first question would be, just looking back. I mean, you're obviously a very successful entrepreneur as well as professional attorney. But how did you grow your practice from basically being probably employee number one to the size and the influence that you guys have in the field today?
So I wish I could tell you that I had the perfect business plan to tell me exactly how to do it, but really it's just a result of my natural insecurity. And as strange as that may sound, I'm a lawyer. I represent rich people in front of tough judges. I'm insecure. I want to make sure that what I'm doing is the right thing and that I'm doing it right, I'm doing it well. So I immediately, when I started off, I was 29 years old, had my own firm, and had people hiring me to handle really important stuff to them, their custody of their children and how to divide the remainder of their assets to make sure they have some money to get along. And I was scared to death that I was going to do something wrong and not give them good advice. So I made sure I always surrounded myself with good people. And it was just first person that I hired was wonderful. She's still with me. She was my right arm. She could finish my sentences. She was a paralegal. Needed another lawyer because if someone came in and said, I'm going to give you $10,000 to go defend me and help me make sure I get alimony and can live, I wanted to go to somebody else in my office and say, here's my strategy. Does it make sense to you? And I had friends and mentors that I could call, but it's not the same as if you're all on the same team. So that sort of happened, and I'd hire people. And then I needed business, so I'd have to go out and develop business and market business. I'd get business, and all of a sudden I'd say I need more people because I can't do a good job if I'm worrying about 10 different clients and there's not that many hours in the day. So it just sort of was a circle that kept going. I'd hire people, I'd get the business, I needed more people to handle the business, and then I'd get more cases to feed the people that were handling the business. And we've leveled out somewhere between 10 and 15 for the last 10 years or so. We're at 12 lawyers now and a 30-person staff. We have our own in-house IT guy. And my strategy really, Kevin, has been get people that can help you do the stuff that I'm not good at. I'm not good at IT. I'm not good at, drafting the basic documents anymore. I want to be doing the big thinking, the high-level stuff. So I have younger lawyers drafting the basic pleadings, doing the basic stuff, and I'm doing what I think I'm good at. So it's all worked out. That was my business plan. If you could recreate that business plan, good for you, because I don't think I could even recreate it.
Well, I mean, there's so many success stories that we read about in journals and everything, talking about successful businesses, and it's almost there's a certain level of strategy involved in it, certain amount of timing, but whatever it was, I congratulate you on a great story, and I'm so glad that you're here today. I mean, you and I have worked together, working with some doing some presentations for some of the athletes that we work with, and I just know that the services that you provide and some of the things that we do kind of go hand in hand. So it's really great to have somebody like you that we feel is a trusted friend and resource to help us with some of the things that we're dealing with.
Well, it's true. And you guys, your industry, the financial advisement is so much more important than what we do. We're going to figure out how to divide up whatever they have, but then they're going to have it. $1 million, $5 million, $200, whatever it is. How do they make that last? How do they invest it wisely? How do they make sure that all of a sudden this family that was getting along on 100% of the income of the parties and 100% of the assets is now divided to two households, sometimes three or four, they're grown kids, but the assets haven't multiplied, even though the households have multiplied. And how do they do that? And how do they get through that? They need somebody like you guys, and they don't need, and I know you aren't, and I don't know how to say this in a non-sexist way, you're not yes men. There are financial advisors, especially for a lot of the athletes we represent, that will say, yeah, it's okay to go buy that $250,000 car. It's okay to buy your mom a $2 million house. I mean, you guys are realists, and you help them understand how this $14 million, which sounds like a lot, is going to have to last you from age 30 to age 90 or 100. And it's a skill set, and working hand in hand with you guys has made it a lot easier.
Well, you make a comment one time that I thought was great. I want to kind of come back to it. You were talking about planning for war to get to peace. Can you give our listeners a little more background on what you mean by that?
So people come in and they don't really know what they want. Most of them don't want litigation. They don't want to go to court. They want to get out of it. So they want a lawyer to settle their case. And we settle probably 90% of our cases. It was 9 o'clock last night. We settled a case after being there all day in mediation. We settle cases. But it's a lot harder to get a good result if the other side thinks that you settle everything and that you're afraid to go to court. So we are able to go to court. We love going to court. The course that I teach that you mentioned, Lesley, at Emory Law School is about jury trials and how to try a jury trial in a divorce case. And I teach a seminar on that too, because you need to know that skill set, not so much because we want to go to court every day, but the once in a blue moon when we have to go to court, you have to know how to do it. And when I'm advising a client about whether a settlement offer is good or not, I have to be able to say to him or her, if you went to trial, in my experience, this is what you would get, which is not as good as the offer that's on the table, or which is better than the offer on the table, so maybe you reject the offer. But unless you have that skill set, unless you understand what it's like to really go to battle and do war, you're going to have a harder time getting peace, or at least harder time getting a fair and just and lasting peace.
Yeah. Okay. So but at the same time, you're also having to communicate a lot of that with your clients, because I'm sure the clients, it's an emotional time. It's probably they're frustrated about the whole situation. How do you get the emotions down to a level that people can think clearly?
It's hard, and it's even beyond that. It's not just getting their emotions down; it's making them see it from the other side's point of view. Can you imagine, going through a divorce, and your lawyer says, "Well, why don't you see it from her point of view?" And you say to your lawyer, "Are you crazy? You're my lawyer. See it from my point of view." Well, the problem is, I'm trying to sell a deal, a settlement package, an offer to somebody else. That somebody else, I promise you, doesn't see it your way. And I have to have this conversation over and over. You have to step outside of yourself and think about what is it that's going to make them want to give you what you want. And it's really hard and that's why we have this saying, a lawyer who represents himself has a fool for a client, because we're all emotional beings. We all have feelings of we're right, and we got self-righteousness, and this is why I should get alimony. This is why I should do this. And when you're settling a case, that's not really as important as what are the other person's concerns. We like to talk about settling cases in this term. If I said to you, Kevin, I'm rejecting your offer, here's mine, that's sort of offensive. If I said on the other hand, Kevin, your offer's not so bad. In fact, I'm basically accepting it, but I've got a couple of small changes to it. That's a much more sellable approach. It doesn't sound powerful. My client might think I'm giving in, but we got to get to the result, and that's the hard part. I also have to make sure my clients know if it doesn't settle, believe me, we'll go to court, and we will be tough, and we will be strong. We're not giving in because we're weak. We're giving in because it's a good result.
Yeah. So to some extent, I guess it sounds a little bit like, you're part strategist, attorney, but also you have to have a certain element of psychologist in you to kind of work through all of that. Is that fair?
Yeah, psychologist, therapist, bartender, beauty salon person, whatever it is, because we will hear stuff that people have not told their brother, their parents, anybody. And the first thing they do when they meet us, well, let me tell you about this relationship I'm having outside my marriage with 3 other people. We hear it all, and we have to transform it from the conduct to how do we divide the money and how do we guarantee you have time with your children. And you're right, we do a lot of listening. And I can't tell you how many times I've said, I'm more expensive than your therapist, and I'm not as qualified as your therapist. And I will listen, and I will help you, but don't ask me for therapeutic advice. Ask me what's going to happen in court, how do we get there, and I'll help you with that. If you need help therapeutically, find a good therapist, but can't help it. You become an armchair psychologist, absolutely, in our job.
Yeah, and maybe we could expand a minute on one area. I know your area is high net worth folks. You and I both share some common demographics as it relates to some of that. With the sports folks and things. But I mean, what do you find that is particularly unique when trying to counsel folks that are in the sports arena in particular, relative to maybe just your high net worth clients that maybe are business executives or business owners?
Well, it's interesting because I'm speaking to the choir. I mean, you guys could give the answer just like I'm about to give, which is, when you represent high profile folks and you want to treat them with silk gloves and bend over backwards to do everything and make them feel very comfortable, you realize that you're not doing anything different than you do for everybody else. Everybody that walks in your door that wants to hire you or us is high profile, and their case and their life is the most important thing going on to them. So everyone's treated the same. But you're right, there are some uniquenesses because a lot of the athletes and a lot of the celebrities have people that do their bidding for them or do their communicating. And they're used to saying, can you just talk to John? He'll be the one communicating. This kind of stuff, it's personal. And we see the people, the clients, actually have different thoughts and desires than what those closest to them think they want. We've heard so many athletes' best friends say, you got to take care of him, keep him away from that gold digger. And then I talk to the athlete and they say, I don't care what my friends say about her. I love her. If she won't sign a prenup, that's fine with me. Well, I need to hear that from the athlete because everyone else is saying, you're being hired to protect him and keep his money safe from her. And the guy may be saying, I know that's a risk, but I want to take the risk. So you got to really have the direct communication with the clients. The other thing, years ago, that's when I learned to text. When I had my first NFL client, they text. They want immediate response because everyone else responds to them, and I do. And if someone's going to pay me $6.50 an hour to text me at 10 o'clock at night or call me, I'm going to take their call or I'm going to return their text because it's obviously something important. The average person is not going to be texting or calling someone charging them $650 an hour unless it's something really important. So whether it's high profile star athlete or not, we're in the service business and we're making people feel better and trying to get them a future. But even if their future is not as bright as they want it to be, we got to give them the silver lining. I mean, they're going through tough times. It's going to be better. And the nice thing about experience that we have is we see them years later. We know years later they're going to be okay. The decent people that get along, that work hard, they're going to make it. They're going to struggle a little bit. They're going to take 2 steps backwards to go 3 steps forward. But hearing it from me, I find, makes them feel a lot better because I've seen other people be right where they are. And I think I can see that reassurance on their face sometimes when I talk to them.
Yeah, I think giving them some comfort just during a time that's very tumultuous is a real value added in itself. And I'm sure you get a little self gratification. I know I do, just feeling like you're giving them a feeling that life will improve, that things will get better down the road, and it won't be too long before things get a lot brighter for them.
Right, and I believe it. I really do believe it. Most people are going to be okay, and there's some people that never get over it, but most people, once they get through this hard time, I'm going to see them at a ball game or at the mall, and they're doing good. And I say, holy cow, look, remember when? Or they say, you were with me when? And it's just sort of that moment, even if it's just a wink, or a bear hug, it's like, I'm back. I'm doing fine, and it feels good.
You were part of their team, and what I'm hearing through this whole conversation is, if you could get people to surround themselves with people that know more than you do. I mean, Randy, you were just saying that it's always good to have a team, but to surround yourself with people who want to protect you, and both of you in your fields clearly want that, and that's why you're spectacular in what you do, because you come from this place of educating and helping first and foremost, and then the business comes. You know, the business is obviously what you do for a living, but truly, genuinely wanting the best for people. It is so satisfying down the road to be able to say, yeah, you did it. Or, yeah, we protected you from, you know, a really ugly mistake you could have made because we talked through it. We made sense. We surrounded you as if you were the CEO of your life. You know, we're just your board members. You know, we're here. We are the people here that you can count on to help get you through either a divorce or through your financial future.
Right. I mean, we're all like, I mean, we're all, that book could have been written about all of us. Do what we love and the money will follow.
Yeah.
And you know what? If the money didn't follow, I'd still be doing it because I love what I do. And there are times when the money doesn't follow, as we all know. But you know what? Making someone's life better is the first reward.
Yeah.
Compensation is great, you know, but yeah, absolutely being able to help people and finding your passion. And, you know, if anybody out there doesn't like what they're doing, find what you like doing, because whatever you like doing, you're probably good at it. And whatever you're good at, you probably like doing. It just goes hand in hand. So I like what I do. Maybe that makes me good at it, but I'm very lucky to have found something that I enjoy doing.
No, that's great. That's great advice, and one that I think everybody needs to kind of think through as far as following your passion. One thing I guess we need to talk about before we let you go, and I do want to spend a minute on this, is your latest passion, Starsona. Can you tell us a little bit about where we are with that, and maybe let our listeners know a little more about it?
He's changing hats.
Yeah. We wear a lot of hats, we say, right? But
Let's
see, we can open this one. But anyway, I'm not going to wear it because it looks so good. So Starsona, it's an app. And I represent a lot of stars, right? A lot of celebrities like you guys. And I always see them on the way to court stopping and saying hi to a fan or doing a video or a selfie. And I thought there should be an app for that. You know, people call me. I'm sure they call you guys and say, can you have a famous client of yours wish my kid happy birthday on a video on their cell phone? There should be an app for that. Well, there is, Starsona. And long story how I developed it, but I have a team out in Silicon Valley. I have a sister-in-law who is a CMO of some big companies and talks to me about apps and how that works. And so they're doing all the hard work. And now my role is pretty much just, you know, telling some of my athlete friends and clients about it. And it's a way that you can go online, you pick your favorite star, singer, T-Boz from TLC, or Dominic Wilkins from the Atlanta Hawks, or, you know, LaRon McClain from the Baltimore Ravens. And you say, would you wish my kid happy birthday? Or would you say, congratulations on your 15th anniversary? And tell her to stop rooting for the Ravens because I'm a Redskins fan. You hit send and you pay them $40 or whatever they're charging so they can raise some money for their favorite charity. And they do the video within a couple of days, and then I can have the link and I give it to my wife, my kid, my friend, and say, look what we got for you. And it's LaRon McClain or Dominic Wilkins saying, your boy Randy Kessler wants me to tell you happy birthday and congratulations on all the good work you've done, and keep being an Atlanta Hawk fan, from Dominic Wilkins and the whole Atlanta Hawks. I mean, he's made somebody feel good. He's made me feel good about giving the gift. He makes the recipient feel good. He raises some money for the American Diabetes Association. It's just a win-win-win. It's Starsona.com or the Starsona app on the Play Store or on Google or on the Apple Store. And thank you for letting me talk about it for a minute, because it's a hidden passion, and I'm very happy to be involved in it.
It's so fun to play with and to use this, because it's, you know, like for Kevin, he's impossible to buy for. So this is something that, and then he can go off and show it to all his friends that he got a personal shout out, and it's just such a neat. And
it shares the charity, the charitable angle. So now the American Diabetes Association gets a little more exposure. It's just a win-win-win-win-win, and there's no downside to it. So if anyone has an idea about it or a thought about it or a correction, or let me know. I love being involved with it, and it's nice to get outside of the divorce world every now and then, you know?
Well, and follow your passion. Yeah, you got a little side hustle, Randy.
That's it.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Kevin, Randy. We could go on, and I'd love to have you back. We've got millions of things we could talk about, but time being limited, and but just really appreciate having you join us today.
Thanks for having me. You guys are wonderful, and let's keep doing business together, and let's see how we can keep helping people. I really respect you guys and what you do.
Thank you.
We love you, Randy. Thanks so much for your time today.
You got it. Bye, guys.
All right, bye-bye.